guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals.
With our peaceful methods and goals. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the American Awakening. I'm sorting through a bit of a mess here. I have been cleaning quite a bit. Been doing a lot of work, actually. Damn it. What am I doing with that? There's a lot going on here. Good evening, and welcome to the American Awakening. Thank you, everybody. This is the Bergy-Bit edition, which is kind of like the only edition, really. Got to expand on the American Awakening a little bit more with a few more channels. That's a work in progress, but I am making progress, and it is good work. Take a look over here in the Twitchverse. Southern Charms, I believe, is in there. And popped up. Is there a pop-up? Is in the ads I'm talking about. Hey, did an ad run? That would be amazing if it did. I have no idea if it did and if it was going to. Yo, Bergy, Shady J76. Oops, hi, chat. Evening, Bergy. Missing parts. Hope you find your parts. Hey there, Bergy and Bergy family. Hello. Thank you, too. I just talked to Mia today. Last night he got to unmute himself, but that was fixed. Yeah, that was a user error right there. Somebody would hope don't lose a stream. Oh, that's true. There we go. He's brought the mic closer. We let him know when we can't hear him. And I try to follow that. To those over in YouTube world, sorry for ignoring you. Good evening, Bert and Helen, Patricia. Good evening. Wonderful name, by the way. Let me scroll back over here. No ad, why not? Ads are for those unsubbed to this channel. Okay, I'm trying to figure that whole thing out, right? So I'm trying to figure out a way to help pay the bills here. This is a company, BB Media, Bergy Bros Media, Incorporated. We have an office. This isn't in my parents' basement. That's for sure. We're really starting to put something, I think, pretty cool together. Now, is this not, well, this is kind of struggling a bit, I think, here. But on Freedom Stream right now, at least from my stream, I've got a lot of stuff going on. But hope y'all had a chance to take a look at freedomstream.tv/Bergy-Bit, Bergy-Bit, or just go to freedomstream.tv. And you can go to the Bergy-Bit from there. Been making a lot of updates and changes. I'm going to be actually doing a couple big updates that I've been working on today, kind of testing out tonight, which kind of sucks because I got to do those like late at night, like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. So that means, you got to do what you got to do. But the changes should help fix some issues people were having with like password resets and linking and just overall trying to work on cleaning up the forums a bit. Weed does help. It's, if I could have found my papers, I would have rolled one. I got everything all set up here. Seemed like, Tuesday seemed like a good night. Got my Freedom Stream hoodie on. Hey, there you are. And got a pretty good show lined up. So what I did is, if you go, I'm going to go right here. And I've got it kind of, let me do this here. I got it kind of zoomed in a bit. Sony screen, that should be it. No, what is that? Hold on here. Studio mode. Okay. There. That's not the one I want. Freedom Stream, there it is. Okay, so and then we'll turn that on there, and then we'll transition over there. Okay, so this is actually and I'm gonna do something as I'm going along, like the text automatically overlays on this, and I don't have it the right size right now, right? It's squeezed in on a screen so I can see all the other windows. But you need a house bong. Yeah, right? No doubt. But that would be, I'm trying to keep it professional, right? People are like, professional? Smoking weed? Are you kidding me? But I'm thinking, if someone... if people give me shit about smoking weed and say, oh, we can't follow this guy because he smokes weed, and they follow a chick that fucking thinks she's a time traveler, then probably going to have a problem with that. Hey, let's throw this up. So apparently we have breaking news again from Tori Says. Apparently she's again been poisoned. I was poisoned 2 months ago. I'm still suffering the repercussions. Now all of them are being poisoned. Sounds like someone is targeting anyone who speaks any truth or is breaking the fabric they weave. So we can scratch her out of the category of people being targeted who speak any truth. But possibly breaking the fabric that they weave. She might be messing with that, but that's just because she's failing at her deliverable in her job, not because... Right? So that's terrible, right? And this is absolutely impacting tons of people. The issue, though, that I would have with this, let me go over here real quick. Let me see if I can find this, right? So the issue I have with that, she throws out there that they're targeting potentially people that are telling the truth. I'm just throwing this out here saying, well, maybe, and I got to switch that over there. It didn't even put that over because I didn't switch to studio mode. But I'm thinking maybe, let me do this here. This is the actual, there we go. Where are you? Here we are. Window full tour. There it is. So this is the actual message. I can see it up. I have split screens here so that I don't just like pull everything up. I pull it up, I look at it, make sure it's good, and then move it over there. But just like the mute button, sometimes you don't move it over there and you sit there and read it. But no, that's the thing. She was poisoned 2 months ago. And then the argument I'm making with that is I go over to Patrick Burns' response, which shows that, she was absolutely just lying about everything when they interviewed her and found that she couldn't be trusted for anything. So kind of problematic. Now, She claims that after that interview that Patrick Byrne is talking about right there in that verifiable email that he sent, says Tory was taken out and interviewed by some people I know from the intelligence community who are absolutely on your or our side. And he smokes pretty good weed too. They came back telling us she knows things and has been behind the curtain. Now, I would like to know how they came to that conclusion. Was it just from the bullshit they fed her, or did they actually pull some records and stuff? That would have been nice to know. That would be nice to know, right? But saying that she knows things been behind the curtain, I'm wondering how much he paid for that report. But it says, goes on to say, but she also lies, exaggerates, deflects, changes subjects rapidly to throw people off. And we cannot rely on her for anything factual because we caught her in too many lies and exaggerations over 3 hours. Now, right? So the problem there, that was not Tory's fault that she lied for 3 hours straight, like the Jerry Lewis lying telethon. No, that was apparently somebody hired by Patrick Byrne, according to Tory, that drugged her, either with the hand sanitizer or possibly some table candies. I don't know what she said, but legit. She claims that she was given drugs and was hallucinating and was not herself. And Patrick, during that interview, and Patrick Byrne right here acknowledges the interview. So he must have, if she's telling the truth, he must be the one who drugged her. So I'm wondering, right, is Patrick Byrne the one that drugged this group of people? I think Joel Osteen may have been one of the potential. They're saying possibly anthrax. I hear there's some different things being thrown out, but really, I just have to every once in a while, I just have to stop and say, are you freaking kidding me? Because these people are actually in very serious positions. I can show you in that email where Patrick Bergy acknowledges himself that they are key figures with he and Powell are key figures with global issues, right? And then they had the fact that he's a key member on the Council of Foreign Relations, which that's got to keep you busy with the Soros crowd. He's a busy man. So he apparently doesn't want to interview with me anymore, although he said he would. He's apparently upset that I published the email that he sent me that I told him was specifically for my book and that I would not change anything in my book. See, Patrick Byrne, though, apparently has issues with people that tell the truth, right? Because if I tell you that if you write Patrick Bergy's a dick 1,000 times and that's your submission, well, I'm probably going to maybe include it 100 times just for saving trees and shit in my book and publish it saying, well, he sent it 1,000 times, but here's 100 times. Bergy's a dick, Bergy's a dick, Bergy's a dick. Okay, so that's called honor, integrity, truth, right? When you say, whatever you send me, I'm going to publish, then that's what I publish. Now, what a lot of people do, because I'm trying to be a journalist, right? Now, what a lot of people do is they will get a situation like that, and they'll receive the email response that Byrne sent me like a couple hours or a day later, maybe a day or so later that I actually saw it. And it will say, hey, look, didn't mean to call you a kook and be so hard. Could you not print that? And right then, I'm faced with a choice. I'm sure Tori was faced with a similar choice. If you don't print that, then you'll probably be on tour with me and back in his good graces. If you do print that and you have some honor and integrity, you're not going to get shit, and we're going to bury you. Right? So, they prefer people who lie, which is maybe why I wasn't poisoned. Oh, Jesus. Let's just agree that her logic there is a bit flawed about them poisoning only the truthful. And those that were screwing with the fabric of their little coin being counterinsurgency. So let me pull up over here. Hey, there it is. Bergy-Bit 2021. 2021, 12/21. That's a confusing date. You got to admit. Yep, Flynn's boys got problems coming. They sure do. I'm pretty sure Tori has some major problems coming right now. Right? And I'm pretty sure it's not because she's sick. I'm pretty sure it's because of that freaking apparently some underage child freaking walking up on her balcony about 2 months ago when she's talking about during her Sweet 16 party that I think that's when she's saying she was poisoned. And some kid walked up on her balcony, said he was going to, on like the top of her building, a high-rise building, and said he was going to kill himself. And then instead of jumping, slit his freaking wrists. Now, that's what I'm told. Wasn't there, but I'm a journalist, and I am repeating that on based on a highly credible witness that wishes to remain anonymous. Apparently, others have verified that there was an ambulance that came there, so you can follow up on that if you want, based on the truth. Bergy, you should get in touch with Gordon Rose. He has a YouTube channel in his name. Not sure who that is. I had a couple people reach out to me just like today and yesterday saying, hey, would like to do an interview with you. And I said, sure, no problem. And exchange the information. I think one I'm going to do on the 6th of January, the other one's scheduled out into February. I guess everybody's booked. That actually works out really well because it times out well with the pre-launch of my book and some of the people that I'm working on with there. But this is, I kind of think it's cool how this is looking. Let me put this up here. This is the Bergy-Bit now. I'm working on the format to this, but I actually kind of like this format. And this is, let me move this over actually just a bit, see if I can, there we go. Right? So, here we are. So, we have the, I'm trying to put this out. This was out at 5/11. I'm trying to actually put these daily blog posts out Monday through Friday. I might even do blog posts on the weekend. But I'm trying to put the blog posts out by 5 o'clock. I'd actually like to, hopefully down the road, be able to get it done maybe a little bit earlier. But I shoot for 5 o'clock. And that's 2 hours before this show. And what I do is kind of like line some of the stuff up in the show. But what I've done here, for example, is give it a little bit of a rundown on it. Put a couple clips, and I could load these in there and play them in the window. But I can also play them right from here. So it's actually a really kind of packages the show up together and gives me actually a way to kind of follow along on some things. So let me get this cleaned up a little bit, and I think I'll be able to put together a pretty good 1 hour information-packed show. just maybe PG-13. We'll keep it. But so we've got there are several. So I just want to make some points here. There's several industrial complex like. Military industrial complex, social media industrial complex, mainstream media industrial complex. All of them, as core mission, is in furthering tactical coordinated attack on humanity to fundamentally build a new world technocracy from data they steal from us under the guise of greater good, whatever that actually means. The greater good always seems to be determined by the direction the gun is pointed. Minority Report like predictive algorithms use data to disseminate whatever lie is required to complete the mission or deliverable, right? Now, Patrick Byrne did a thing with, in fact, with... who was that? He did a thing with, there we go. I could actually pull that up, but with Pete Santilli. And in that, let me slide this over here. Let me bring this up, and then I'll do that other one. So let me do this here real quick. I want to change this window. What is that? Rumble. So this is, where is Rumble? Twitch, FBI, there it is. Okay, so this is Pete Santilli's show, Patrick Byrne. I wanted to play just a moment of this, all right? And I'm going to fire this up while I do that.
They had me open some of the doors for one presidential candidate, a minor one, and not Rand Paul, because everyone always guesses Rand Paul, but just so probably they could get a Pfizer on him.
Am I the only one who wants to know who he's talking about? Was that potentially, if it wasn't Rand Paul, was he referring to Rudy Giuliani? Now, if he was, I kind of have a problem with that because Rudy Giuliani, as you know, has a client or had a client before until these guys freaking destroyed his reputation by saying he was a alcoholic and shit. But Rudy Giuliani had one client. That was Mike Tremarco. Mike Tremarco is one of the original founders of Dish Networks. He was a big investor in Dish Networks. He hired Rudy Giuliani to sue Alexander Nix, who was his partner in Dish Networks, for $60 million. A lot of money, maybe not to a guy like Byrne, but a lot of money to a guy like maybe Nix. But Nix apparently hurt Mike Tremarco's $60 million investment in Dish Networks with his involvement in Cambridge Analytica, right? So Cambridge Analytica also has on its board who? Mike Flynn. So circle back around, as our friend Miss Kawasaki likes to say, and you got Patrick Byrne asking that question, and
they completely smudged up.
Or pointing out, not asking the question, but pointing out that he was that he had set up somebody. I'm thinking if that was Rudy Giuliani. Now, Tory was, in my opinion, trying to set up Mayor Rudy Giuliani when we were in New York. That's why I left New York early. Tory's now working with Byrne. Was Tory working for Byrne then, trying to take out Rudy Giuliani because to help, in order to help General Flynn, who they're both working with. You know, if I'm wrong, no harm, no foul. If I'm right, it's kind of seditious treason. And that is a big harm and a big foul. So let me do this here. So let me play this here for just a bit more.
The Republican Party. I'm going to go back a bit. They completely smudged up the Republican Party with her. I figured out they were doing that in December of 2015. that what they were doing, that they were building what I called Cano Scandal. They were going to leave on the shelf, and someday they were going to take it, shake it up, crack it, spread it all over the Republicans. I knew that December of 2015, which is 7 months before they acknowledged they even knew of her. And then there's lying. Okay, so then this happened. They came to me and said, they explained what a sting was. A sting is a cop can't just walk up to someone on the street and say, you want to buy some cocaine? You have to prove, the prosecutor needs to show there were predicate acts that establish, like, say, stopping at the right crossroads known for drug distribution, which demonstrates a prior disposition, and thus when the cop shows up and tried to sell the cocaine, it's not entrapment.
Okay, so enough of that. Interesting point, though, that he made there. Again, Patrick was on Pete Santilli's show. Pete Santilli was completely attacking and going after Tory. But Pete Santilli is beholden to Roger Stone. Rightfully so. I get why Pete Santilli has that sense of loyalty to Roger Stone. Roger Stone's responsible in his mind for getting him out of prison when he was kind of abandoned there by everybody. So, but when he's holding that marathon for Roger Stone, and Roger Stone's so poor he can barely rub $2 together. I question that. I question everything about that. And then a couple days later, he's got Patrick Byrne on. Pete Santilli, right after Shadowgate, reached out to me, right? These were people that reached out to me. I did not reach out to them. So they were all connected on this. And in fact, Pete was very kind, helped me, gave me a platform on a couple occasions to tell my story, to tell my side of it, when nobody else would. I mean, try to Google Patrick Bergy, Shadowgate, a documentary that an American journalist was arrested while uploading it, and you'll find nobody's ever interviewed me of any. There's no blue check that's ever interviewed me even one frickin' time. And now I've had I've had 3 documentaries that I've largely been the subject of. I was a subject in the last documentary with Nick Searcy, kind of a big deal, right? You will not find one blue check journalist, but yet these journalists will write about Tory all the time. Again, I could sit here fucking naked, smoking a joint. My numbers, if possible, would probably go down, but they wouldn't report it. They wouldn't report a verified DOD cyber warfare specialist, right? Why would they? Why would they verify someone who can actually verify his story, right? This is what I tried to do. Well, hold on here. This is one of the things I tried to do. It's not working. What do we got here? Bergy, Trump. I got to work on all of these buttons, my friends. I got to work on these damn buttons. Now, why is that not working now? Okay. That's a ton of stuff that I've been doing here. I'm telling you right now. It's kind of cool. When I get done with all of this, it's going to be absolutely awesome, right? But let me see here. Let me do this. Bergy, where are you? There you are. Maybe I can just go in this way. Oh, okay. That's what I'm doing wrong. I'm still in fucking studio mode. I've been foiled again by studio mode.
2 days, Patrick Bergy, former cybersecurity veteran, former DOD contractor, working on ShadowNet. The film is Shadowgate. Millie Weaver and her husband Played the video last hour. Got arrested in Ohio today. Grand jury for stealing documents, I guess, or something. They wouldn't even tell him. They said burglary. And so that's now happened. So I guess their paranoia has turned out to not be paranoia, but legitimate concern. And so Patrick Bergy, this is a 5-minute segment. 10-minute segment's coming up next. But get in, because you've already covered a lot of incredible things. The point is, this is going on domestically. What does President Trump need to do?
Look at that handsome man.
President Trump needs to, I mean, the whole world needs to, in my opinion, sort of take a mulligan and acknowledge that all of this is happening and that we're just destroying our country. We're destroying the integrity of the election process, that's for sure, which is the core of our democracy. But I would argue, and so do a lot of people, that we're actually destroying humanity in the process. I've been making that argument for quite some time, my friends. It's something I'm sticking with. It is. Let me mute this here right now. I always forget to do that. What do we got here? Somebody trying to warn me something? Here we go. Nope. Stuff is on. Let me mute this. Do not disturb. There we go. All right. So, but now I'm gonna forget the microphone or something, but that's just general stuff. Can't read these things when I'm doing a show. I have a hard enough time doing the show as it is. But it's actually not coming out too terrible, right? I'm able to really be able to start getting a message out. Let me take a look here what we got over in YouTube land. Is anyone here awake to the cluster B personality disorders, narcissism, psychopaths, and familiar with the parable of the harvest, wheat and tares? That's what this is. Actually, absolutely, I am. Right? I absolutely am. I reached out, in fact, to Pastor Rodney Howard Brown, thank you very much, and asked him that question some time ago. How do you separate the wheat from the chaff when the wheat is protecting the chaff? Well, Pastor Rodney's answer to that was the only thing that can do that is like the Holy Spirit or the Holy Fire or something. I can't remember for sure. Right? So I agree with that. And I'm trying to figure that out. And I know I probably don't do the best job. It's just, I do the best that I can, and I'm trying to actually do a little bit better, right? So here we have, like, this is actually working right now, right? And this is kind of what I wanted to go into. A few, actually, I'm going to have to go back to that, but let me do this here. There, so I'm going to do that, and then transition.
Gagged me with a spoon. Except the Lord build the house, the Laban made that building. Except the Lord keep the city. Somebody said America's going to fall. Well, let me tell you why it's not going to fall. Because there's more than 50 righteous. And if God would not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because there were more than 50 righteous, God will not destroy America while we are here. Finish.
I tell you, I'm not so
And we're not going to have a civil war. And they're not going to be race riots. Our cities are not going to burn. At least not in Florida, and not here in the city of Tampa, as long as I'm a pastor here.
I'm not entirely so sure about that, my friends. I'm not so sure about that. There's actually 50 righteous left, right? When I put my book out in February, you're gonna hear a story about several pastors, right? And I did this on a Bergy-Bit a few weeks ago, maybe a month back, right? Where I played some of those clips, right? Of my time when I was at, let me put this over here, when I was at the river over Father's Day weekend, Freedom Stream here, I think that's it, yes. So when I was there over the weekend, and this is just a quick clip from that. Well, first I'm going to play this one. How's this for a view, folks? Tell me God doesn't exist, yet I'm standing right here. Thank you, Pastor Dave, for getting me in here. This is absolutely awesome. Website's running great. Can we agree that? And looking pretty good too. You know, why was I there? And I hope you notice that I'm trying to balance out a little more professionally the audio tonight. When these things come on, we'll see how this works in playback. Why was I there? Here I am, standing there, looking around, going, how the hell am I here? I'm a damn PFC, not even a good one. And it's like every step of the way I'm being brought to these places, and I'm feeling, because I'm a human trying to find answers, find the truth, right? And I find that like every point along my path, it's taking me to these amazing experiences and amazing points. PFC Bergy, General Flynn. What's your name? PFC Bergy. Remember Shadowgate? You ever hear of Shadowgate? Oh, yeah. First question. Yeah, he's heard of Shadowgate. I knew that. I'm not stupid. I knew I had one question, and that seems to be the one question I always try to get out. I got that one out. And right after that, I got attacked by Pastor Rodney, and he's like, he apologized for it later. But he's one of many pastors that I've engaged with, not because I set out to find them or knew them, but simply because I was seeking the truth, and this is the path I was led on, right? So I read last night, somebody sent me an article about and I wish I could pull. I wish I was able to cut. When I get more organized, I'm gonna do like a Russell Brand thing where he cuts out art. Well, not cuts out articles, but copies and pastes quotes from articles. I'm gonna do that on the website here in the coming days for my pre-show things that I put out at 5:00. I'm really trying to offer people some good content, some good value. If you can help me out with the new price of $7.99 a month for freedomstream.tv, I'm trying to get more interviews, and will get more interviews with very good people like Fred Taylor. I am still I'm waiting to schedule with Lynn Wood. He's agreed and said that he would. So hopefully I'll be able to have an answer for Lynn Wood. But these things cost money. And I try not to, not even try not to. I absolutely don't want to be associated with these damn grifters, right? And I include the company of Mr. Coyne here, Mr. Counterinsurgency, the father of counterinsurgency using social media, psychological warfare, right? When I put my book out on this guy and the connections that are made to Shadowgate and to Michael Hastings' death, murder, in my opinion, to all of these things, Michael Hastings, or General Flynn, General McChrystal, these are all names that come up right at the top. And think about this. I started out with my focus being on General James Jones, Obama's national security advisor, and the guy I worked 8 years for in pioneering the ShadowNet, right? And that's, in fact, what I was exposing in Shadowgate. But when's the last time you heard me mention General Jones? He's, as far as I can see, he is almost certainly, well, all of these people are still functioning based on their rank and authority. So to that, I would argue McChrystal would be the command. He's a 4-star. General Jones, also a 4-star, provides the subcontracts, non-attribution to their little coin. Through ClearForce, through Dynology, through his DC lobby, Jones Group International, will provide subcontract work for McChrystal Group and for Flynn Group if it hadn't been shut down, right? So, so what do you have under that? You have the 3-star here, General Flynn, who would basically be operational, tactically operational on the ground, answering to those. And that's exactly how I see this playing out. I found it interesting in the Barnes, what was that? The Viva Barnes that I did, I think, last night when we were listening to Viva and Barnes. Barnes made the comment that several people closely associated for, I think he said, like, paraphrasing, but if I'm wrong, like decades, for long-time friendships. I'm assuming he's referring to probably former staff officers or senior enlisted that have worked with him for a very long time. Would that now, Barnes did not say who. He seemed to imply there were some that had reached out to him that were former associates like that of General Flynn. I'm wondering if McChrystal was one of them. Is McChrystal one of them being questioned by Durham's people, by J6, by the January 6th committee, right? People will say, oh, January 6th committee is just a hack partisan thing. And they may be very well true, because I'm not going to sit here and defend D.C. in any way, shape, or form. They haven't even figured out how to sell weed legally. They freaking, the only way you can buy weed in D.C. is if you buy a $3 T-shirt for like $100, and then you get the weed for free. It's basically, ticket scalping techniques that our government came up with in the heart of our Congress in D.C. I mean, our Congress runs D.C. It's not a state. They're in charge of it. So when D.C. voted for recreational weed, when the people voted for something recreational, the best these dumbasses could come up with was to sell basically scalp Stones tickets, right? This guy had an interesting question. Bear with me one moment here. Window full. Change this over. Let me just finish. Automatic. There. Hold on.
About the potential for violence in connection with the January 6th events. And as we discussed here this morning,
Right, I want to be violence from January 6th. Can we agree on that?
well, I don't know that we had assessed its credibility. We certainly had information that was concerning about the potential for violence in connection with the January 6th events. And as we discussed here this morning,
Right,
one piece of information that was most specific that I'm aware of was passed, quite
Well,
quickly.
based on that information, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we just keep nibbling at the edges and dancing around the issue. And I understand. I'm not asking you to throw anybody under the bus, Chris. I get it. But we need to find out what happened. Now, if you were king for a day, based on the information that you had, maybe not at the time, but later on, would you have called out the FBI? I mean, the National Guard?
Senator, as you said, I really want to be careful not to be armchair quarterbacking others. I think the National Guard, we have seen, can play a very important role in crowd
Excuse me
control.
for interrupting.
Yeah.
Boy, I sure, I'm not trying to be rude, but my time's limited. Well, who made the call not to, based on your information, who made the call not to call out the FBI, whether they should have or shouldn't?
Not to call the FBI?
I'm sorry, I'm tired. The National Guard.
The National Guard.
Well, I would defer to others who were more involved in that discussion, but from what I have heard, what I have read, my understanding is that at one stage of the process, the local government was of the view that it did not need the National Guard's assistance.
Who do you mean by the local government? The mayor?
Yes.
So the mayor didn't call out the National Guard.
But he's not. He's just saying like what he read. Am I wrong, or is he saying like what I read in the fucking paper?
The beginning.
What do you mean by the beginning?
Well, in the day or two leading up to the 6th. Okay. Then as to exactly how it played out on the 6th itself,
I understand
I'm not as
but
sure about.
I mean, clearly our people were overrun by the nut jobs. So we're making progress here, okay? So the mayor or the city government decided not to call out the FBI, the National Guard ahead of time. What about the House Sergeant at Arms?
I don't know what role the House Sergeant at Arms played with respect to the National Guard.
Okay. How about the Senate Sergeant?
Same answer.
Okay. How about the Capitol Police, the Chief of Capitol Police? Did the Chief of Capitol Police make the call not to call out the National Guard?
I don't know the answer to that. My understanding is that the law enforcement officials here with responsibility over the Capitol, that there were differing views about whether or not the National Guard was appropriate and when at what level. But all I really know on that is what same thing you've seen, in the press coverage of the events.
Okay, that's enough on that.
So, so the best that he could give is what he's seen by press coverage, but has anybody, while that was going on, I was looking for, anybody remember the Alex Jones with Alex Jones and, Patrick Byrne? Maybe I have it here. I don't. Well, maybe I do. Burner. No, I don't have it. Well, no, I don't. But Byrne and Patrick Byrne, I'm going to have, though, all of these set up so nicely here very shortly. But Patrick Byrne, General Flynn, Joe Flynn, and Alex Jones were recently on an InfoWar thing. And what they were talking about, so Alex Jones said that Patrick had kind of mentioned that he wondered about the who called in the National Guard, who told the National Guard to stand down on January 6th. And when that came out, I made the point that, wow, it kind of seems like Alex Jones is looking to use that for his his alibi for the January 6th select committee. And so the question that he was asking there to General Flynn, Alex Jones was asking General Flynn, was essentially setting him up with, hey, did your brother, who was a general, in that room where the decision was made to tell the National Guard to stand down on January 6th, was your brother Charlie involved with that, right? So that's kind of like actually a big deal. And I'm not going to be able, well, maybe I do. That's the only one I have in there is the car crash. But for operators, no, here I go. Crystal. Screw up. I don't have the right one in there. But while I'm there,
I sat down next to him and started following with my questions. I wanted to begin with his career and family life. First, I asked him if he'd gone for a run that morning. One of McChrystal's defining characteristics, according to all the biographical material I'd read about him, was his obsession with fitness. He regularly would go on jogs for 6 or 7 miles. When he briefly lived in New York to work at the Council on Foreign Relations, he'd run to the office from his place in Brooklyn.
What? Ran to the Council on every day to the Council on Foreign Relations? Well, I wonder if you ever ran into Patrick Byrne there. You fucking kidding me, people? Really? So, the guy that I just described as very highest in the chain of command from a military perspective is apparently does his morning jogs at the Council on Foreign Relations, who was, by the way, General Michael Flynn's commander, and General Charlie Flynn's commander for 4 deployments over like a 30, 40-year period. Not a small relationship. There's your wedding, as he likes to call it. Boy, I wish I had. When I get this all loaded up and I would be able to have the wedding in there. You know what's another one that I like to play? This is another one I like to play. We're going to get rolling out of here in a couple minutes.
Charade would have held up over time, but they couldn't help themselves. With careers made by the prestige and money that can be achieved only through continuing their campaign elsewhere, the Coindinistas start talking about G-Coin, or Global Counterinsurgency, a worldwide fight to perform nation building under the rubric of the War on Terror.
G-Coin. That's where the American Awakening no coin comes from. And in fact, I am engaged right now. I put the money down for with the coin people to making the coin. Now, they said it could take up to 4 weeks for this. And I'm assuming we're going to be at least 2 or 3 days, maybe more. But it'll time out perfect with the book. Initially, I'm only going to be making an order of 50 of them. Unless, if you guys order enough that I can order of the pre-orders, like if I can do maybe, 10 or if I could do like 15 or 20 pre-orders before the design process is over, and as we're going back and forth with the design process of the coin, I'm going to be putting the artwork up and such for it. And then when it's all done, which is going to be better than, it's going to look like what I have here in front of you, right? Which, by the way, I'm just waiting for them to come at me with like some sort of like, well, this is copyrighted, the skull with the thing in the middle, because it's legitimately the cyber, it's the patch, it's the unit patch for non-existent for the CIA's cyber warfare division that doesn't actually exist, which is why Gavin used it in Shadowgate, and why I'm using it now with the book and on the coin and putting this and making that the coin, right? Hey, thank you very much for Eyes Wide Open for your pre-order. Thank you very much. This is actually going to be a really cool thing. And the pre-orders on these aren't going to be that terrible, right? The book is going to be what? It's black and white. It's going to be rather large, but it's black and white. So the cost on it's actually going to be a fraction. And then I'm putting, but if I can, the larger quantities I can order of those on the initial order, the better price I get on them, right? I'm going to limit. I'm also doing the coins with an annual subscription to the Freedom Stream. If you do the annual subscription, as soon as the coins come in, we're going to be sending that out to you. All right. And the only thing you're doing is just paying the like $10 shipping and handling fee, right? Which, when you consider how much the label printer costs, the labels, the packaging, printing, signing, $10 you might make a couple dollars on that. And I'm doing it myself. And eventually I want to be able to have like 1 or 2 or more employees here that can help me put together some of this content, that can help me be able to get this information, get this message out, right? The Freedom Stream hoodie, I'm going to be putting the coin out on the hoodie. That's going to look freaking cool. So the coin's going to go out on the hoodie. And even I've got a couple other things that are looking really cool too, right? So I'm going to wrap everything up right now. It's coming up on 8 o'clock. Please, freedomstream.tv. You can help me out. Patreon.com, American Awakening. Although I'm probably going to be closing down the Patreon. And just once I get everything set up nicely on freedomstream.tv, and you can subscribe there now. You can do this. But when I get the forum set up for the subscribers, it's going to be a great area for supporters, followers, people seeking information. I was a former knowledge content management subject matter expert. So I like to be able to think that maybe we can build something out here that is not deep state controlled, just dumbass controlled, and something that is functional and can help spread this message. So again, Thank you all very much. I'm sorry I couldn't put Holy Cats said something about Petraeus. Yep, served, I worked as contractor under Petraeus in Iraq. That's what you see me there with. Thank you very much. I will go through these once I shut down. And I will also be uploading yesterday's and today's Bergy-Bit to freedomstream.tv/Bergy-Bit. Right? So that's going to be available now. The archives are available. I'm going to keep them available open for everyone for about the next month. Then I'm going to restrict it to the new subscribers, which is going to be the subscriptions going from $5 to $7.99. If you do the annual subscription, it's $79.99. That's gonna give you a coin and a certificate from ShadowNet or Shadowgate University in certified ethical shadow hacking. Obviously, it's a fun thing, but it also helps start a conversation. So again, thank you all very much. Good night. I will see you tomorrow, and God bless everyone.